Good evening, ladies and gentlefolk. My name is Dr. Finnegan Fuddy-Duddy, Ph.D. I received my Ph.D. in the progression of aggression of rural ethnic groups of white Caucasoid males from Duke University. I am currently unable to find employment in my field of study. However, I do work as a Walmart greeter, so thank you. This is Professor Dingleberry Dipwit. He is the professor of diversity, inclusion, non-discrimination, general open-mindedness, and brain-deadedness at UNC. He is currently employed in Chapel Hill as the prestigious community organizer. So, for the past 15 years, we have been working on our treatise, our thesis, the culmination of our work. And we would like to present that to you tonight as a debut. Now, while I did a tremendous amount of research on this, I'm a very, very poor grammarian. So, my esteemed Professor Dipwit is actually excellent at grammar. And he has provided the grammar for the entire piece, all of the punctuation. So, as I read, he will actually provide the punctuation, so there is absolutely no question about what we are reading and what we're presenting tonight. This is our debut. It is special, and we want you to enjoy it with us. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce the punctuation so it is crystal clear. The comma. The semicolon. The exclamation point. The question mark. Quotation marks.
Judging.
The dash. And the period. Thank you. So, without further ado, let us begin our treatise, our 15 years worth of work on the Hatfields and the McCoys. So, the Hatfields and McCoys will always be remembered as the most infamous feuding families of the Appalachians. Yet, they lived peaceably side by side for many years. William McCoy moved from Ireland, settling on the Kentucky side of the Tug Fork, a small tributary of the Big Sandy River in 1750. The Hatfields hailed from England, settling on the West Virginia side. No single event can be clearly blamed for starting the feud, but rather a series of suspected murders, thefts, land disputes, and general family mistreatments instigated said violence. On January 7th, 1865, Asa Harmon McCoy was murdered by a group from West Virginia called the Logan County Wildcat Home Guards, led by Anderson Hatfield. Randolph McCoy, brother to Asa Harmon McCoy and patriarch of the prestigious McCoy clan, did his utmost to indict Anderson Hatfield for the murder. But he was thwarted in his effort because Hatfield had an alibi. He claimed he had been at home sick murder. McCoy was furious. But because he possessed no lawful recourse, he suppressed his anger. Saving it for a later time. 13 years later, in 1878, Randolph McCoy was sure he'd get his revenge. He found a hog in Floyd Hatfield's barn that had the McCoy brand. McCoy exclaimed,
Judging!
"Hatfield, you're a pig-picking poacher! I'll cut you in two! I'll habeas your corpus! I'm going to see you pay for your pilfering in the state penitentiary." But McCoy was once again faulted, for the case was heard on the Hatfield side of the creek. Anderson Hatfield, presiding justice of the peace. The combination of a biased judge and the testimony of Bill Staunton, a relative of both families, resulted in acquittal for Hatfield. The burning coals of bitterness simmered until they glowed red in June of 1880. Bill Staunton was killed by Sam and Paris McCoy, who were later acquitted by a Kentucky court in a claim of self-defense.
Judging!
What?
Judging!
Hatfield bellowed.
Judging!
What do these McCoys think they are? They can't get away with murder!
Judging!
Tensions continued to strain between the two families until finally, in 1882, hostilities reached a fevered pitch. 2 Hatfields and 3 McCoys saw each other in town and began arguing. "Ewan's murdered Bill Staunton!"
Judging!
Hatfields accused.
Judging!
"Ewan's murdered Uncle Asa!"
Judging!
Returned the McCoys. The argument brewed abroad in the streets of town. When the dust settled, Ellison Hatfield had been stabbed 26 times and shot in the back for good measure. Immediately, upon hearing of this fight, Anderson Hatfield sprang into action. He seized upon 3 McCoys and conducted them to the Tug Fork Creek. There he unhorsed them, dragged them into a pawpaw bush, tied them fast, and shot them 50 times. The feud had begun in earnest. Raiding parties, house burnings, and revenge killings continued until a sum total of over a dozen family members were slain from each clan between the years of 1880 and 1891. Finally, the authorities in both Kentucky and West Virginia had had enough, and they arrested several of the Hatfields, which successfully ended the bloodshed. The final outcome, however, is unclear. The victor never named, and the defeated never vanquished. But here, now, at the Deer Lake camp, the saga continues. Who will finally win this legendary feud once and for all?